Welcome back to GTD. Welcome to the Thursday Picks episode. If you haven't seen the Tuesday full episode, go check that out right quick.
A lot of good stuff.
A lot of good motorsport stuff. A lot of good controversial motorsport stuff this week.
And college football stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about football. College football, some good games this week, another good slate. It feels like we've had a lot of good slates this season. The Horns are down after the Texas loss to Georgia this past weekend, but we'll talk about some other SEC teams and then a couple other matchups as well, including a ranked service academy. But let's get it started with number 8 LSU heading down to College Station to take on number 14 Texas A&M.
Give me the Yelling Aggies.
The Yelling Aggies. Why?
I don't think the LSU defense is very good at stopping the run, and I think Le'Veon Moss is going to expose that this weekend. And I'm just riding Moss. You know how I love riding my running backs. So I think Texas A&M is going to kind of march right through the LSU defensive line.
I don't think they march right through it. I think this is a close.
I think
game.
it's close. I think it's close as well.
I think it's a close competitive game. LSU's defense has improved week over week over week. The offense has been good all year. Garrett Nussmeier's been solid. Kyron Lacey's an incredible receiver. I think the A&M defense is going to be good enough to keep them in check enough. I would take Texas A&M to win this game as well. I expect Le'Veon Moss to have a good day, as you mentioned.
It's in Kyle Field. So,
yeah, it's in Kyle Field, 100,000 plus down there. It's going to be rocking. Give me A&M, and I think this game is very, very close.
I think so, too. I think Nussmeier will outplay Wayman, and typically I go with the better quarterback, but I think it's not going to be enough to counter Le'Veon Moss's run attack. And I think A&M knows this, and I think they're really going to rely heavily on the run. And if they can get that established early, which I think they do, I think they win in a close, tight SEC battle.
Yeah, I will say the X factor for this is Caden Durham, LSU running back, had kind of been struggling this year, then put up over 103 touchdowns on Arkansas this past week. If they can get him going anything like that this week, I think that is LSU's path to victory. Next up, number 21 Missouri traveling to Tuscaloosa to take on number 15 Alabama in the battle of SEC disappointments. Who do you have in that one?
I do have Alabama. I think they're a better, more talented, complete team than Missouri. Both of these teams have struggled of recent. Missouri coming off of an upset alert game against Auburn, who is not good at all this year. But then again, you saw that with Tennessee. Now Florida way better than Auburn. But Tennessee not played very well and then came up and beat Alabama. I don't think that happens for Missouri. Milroe has not looked great the last few weeks, but I said this last week, I think he really tries to hone in and practice this week, and you see the Milroe of last year or of early this year in this game. I'm hoping that's what happens for Jalen Milroe's sake, because he is really starting to get heavily attacked in the media and whatever else. So I hope Milroe has a bounce-back game. I think he does. And when Milroe's on and talented and can get it to his guys like Ryan Williams and out, that you can open up the rushing game with guys like Jam Miller and McClellan. So I think Alabama wins. But I really want to see a complete game from Jalen Milroe again.
Yeah, I'm taking Alabama as well. This is a Missouri team that, especially versus the good competition that they've played, has really been vulnerable to the deep ball, and that is the absolute worst thing to be versus Jalen Milroe, especially now with Ryan Williams, who's been incredible for them this season. And the Missouri run game with Nate Noel has fallen off a cliff. He's been banged up.
I was going to say, Missouri's very banged up right now as well.
Missouri is banged up. Brady Cook obviously left for a good bit of the Auburn game. We'll see what his status is this coming week. Did come back, so not quite sure what his percentage will be going into that game. And even with him, you saw the massive struggles they had going into play versus Texas A&M, and Alabama is also a very difficult environment to go into. Yeah. So you never know. Alabama was on upset alert versus South Carolina at home a couple weeks ago, so anything's possible, I guess, but I am taking the Crimson Tide. Then in the fun game of the week, it's number 5 Texas coming off the loss to Georgia versus number 25
they ranked them.
Vanderbilt. Ranked Vandy.
Yep.
Do you think ranked Vandy wins their first game?
Oh, I ranked Vandy. I was like, what do you mean? Yes, I do. As my co-host Micah once said in the Oregon-Ohio State game, vibes. Diego Pavia has proven he's a gamer. He was a gamer last year in Mexico State, coming into Auburn at Jordan-Hare and beating them. He did this against Alabama this year. I think Texas A&M, or not A&M, I think Texas needs to kind of, especially after the week they had last week, needs to kind of hone in and not overlook Vanderbilt, because I know it's Vanderbilt, but they've been good this year, and Pavia is a gamer. Give me Pavia. I love the kid. I wish the kid all the best luck. His story's great. Give me Vanderbilt. I'm taking Vanderbilt over Texas. I just want it to happen so bad, so it's happening.
I'm going to do what you did with the Ohio State-Oregon game, and I'm going to hate on the vibes. Give me Texas. I think that Texas knows they need a bounce-back week, and I think they are going to be able to get one. Versus this Vandy defense, you really want to try to spread them out. You have deep speed on this Texas team, especially Isaiah Bond, one of the fastest players in college football. Then if you can work Gunnar Helm over the middle, maybe into the flat, get him open, he can be a real difference maker for you. And then lock down the back end on defense. You got to lock down Eli Stowers for Vandy, too. Their tight end has been incredible. And then if you can get Jahdae Barron playing good on the back end, really kind of constraining these Vandy receivers, keep Vandy in front of you, limit the big plays, I think you'll be able to out-explosive play them and win this game.
What's helped Vandy is they now have a blueprint on how to beat this Texas team. After watching last week. Now, granted,
Georgia is not a very applicable blueprint.
Look, but I know Texas is going to review all the film from Georgia, and they're a very good coaching staff. They're going to say, we need to work on this, and this, and they're going to this week. But there are some things that Vandy can do. Now, they don't have the talent that Georgia has on defense or anything like that. They don't have Kirby Smart as their head coach with the defensive mind he is.
Clark Lee is a good defensive mind, though.
Right. So I think they have some things that they're going to implement that Georgia did, and we'll see how well Texas made their adjustments in response to them. But yeah, I really hope Vanderbilt wins.
Well, we'll see if it can happen or not. Then finally, number 12, Notre Dame, a team that kind of feels like it's been forgotten about after the Northern Illinois loss earlier this year, taking on number 24, Navy at MetLife Stadium. Navy 6-0, Notre Dame 6-1. Do you think the undefeated season continues for Navy, or do you think Notre Dame ends it?
I do. I think Navy. I think they get it done this weekend. I think these teams are kind of very evenly matched, I will say. But I think Notre Dame has been prone to the loss. I mean, they had the loss earlier in the year, the big upset loss. So I think they lose again. Riley Leonard has not been super impressive this year. I know they had high expectations for this kid coming into the season, and he really has struggled to kind of get his feet underneath him and start moving. I think he's trending in the right direction, but I just haven't seen enough yet, so I think Navy outscores them.
I think Navy wins this game as well. I really like how this team matches up. A lot of Notre Dame's game is we have one of the better secondaries in the country. We're going to clamp you down. You're not going to be able to throw the ball. And Navy's going to go, okay, we'll run it through your face.
We'll just hand it off.
And Blake Horvath, the Navy quarterback, has 10 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns, and only 1 interception this season. He's been incredible. You never know, maybe they're testing the super soldier serum with Navy out there. I don't know what's going on, but he's been incredible this season. I would really expect the option game to be able to work well versus this Notre Dame team. And I know they always preach stay home, stay home, stay home. But with how athletic this Navy team is, it's a lot more difficult to do because you open yourself up to those reverse pitches, those cutback lanes. And I think Notre Dame's really going to struggle. Give me the midshipmen. Give me number 24 Navy to move to 7-0.
Yeah, in Notre Dame, a 12.5-point favorite.
I definitely don't like that.
Yeah. I mean, take that all day long if you want to. But before, because that was our last game pick. But do you have any AP top 25 hot takes?
Upsets of the week or something?
No. Just looking at the AP poll top 25. What is your initial reaction, and what is your thing that kind of stands out, if anything?
The thing that stands out the most to me is Iowa State is not the 10th best team in the country, but I think they'll fall down naturally as the season progresses. I would say, as far as hot take, I think if I was doing a power rankings right now, Clemson for me is in the top 5 rather than number 9. I would say I would move them up there. I don't know how many people have really watched Clemson or would agree with that to this point, but I think that Georgia loss is not as bad as it seems. It's week 1 Clemson. You're still trying to kind of figure out new things.
Well, now that loss doesn't seem bad at all. Now that they just beat Texas.
And Clemson has looked virtually unstoppable since then. And so I think Clemson deserves to be a top 5 team right now if you're doing a power rankings.
Yeah, I think this has been a pretty good week for the AP top 25 poll. I don't think there's anything really that stands out. Penn State, number 3, that'll work itself out. I'm not worried about that. I don't think they're the 3rd best team in the country, but once again, that'll work itself out. They just have the 6-0 record and have the win over USC, I guess. So when they start playing more talent, that'll work itself out. But BYU definitely needs to be in the top 10, in my opinion.
Who do you put? I know Iowa State. Iowa State for sure. Who else do you put BYU above in the top 10? Because I would say no one. I would say they move up at most 1 spot for me.
I think it's
Clemson. They're not better than LSU. They're not better than Tennessee.
I think it's close. Then they're pretty in my head. Miami, Clemson, and BYU. Those are the 3. Those are 3 you kind of go back and forth with. Maybe not Miami, just because the dynamic play of Cam Ward.
Not Miami or Clemson. You put BYU's offense against Clemson's defense, they're not going to move the ball.
I don't know, man. Their offense, the thing with BYU's offense is they have 2 to 3 busted plays a game that kind of secure wins for them.
You won't get to the busted play because Peter Woods in the middle for Clemson is going to say hello, and then your play is ruined.
I think it's just the nature of college football. They'll get a few busted plays. One of those went up in the end zone.
We're talking about hypotheticals for way
close game. Close game for Clemson. But yeah, that's all we have this week. Make sure y'all watch all the games this week. Go back and watch the episode Tuesday where we recap all the craziness that happened in college football already. And tune in again next Tuesday when we'll recap these games and see if we were right or wrong. But let us know in the comments what y'all think. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.